Part 1. You will hear a conversation between two university students discussing their recent experiences and future plans. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 5.
Mariana, how was your internship? I remember you were super enthusiastic about it when you started.
Oh, hi, James. Yes, it was absolutely fantastic. Thanks for asking. I can't believe it's already finished. It feels like I just got started, but actually, I was there for 4 months.
4 months? That's quite a stretch. So, what kind of work did you do?
Well, I worked at the City Gallery, mostly in the records department. My responsibilities were quite diverse. Some days I did routine stuff like sorting old paintings and entering data. But on other days, I was part of bigger projects. One highlight was helping with a research project for a major exhibition about the history of the train. That was definitely my favorite. I found it so interesting to explore how trains have changed over the years.
That does sound cool. So, would you want a permanent job in a gallery after you graduate?
I'm not entirely sure. I've always enjoyed galleries, and this experience made me appreciate them even more. But I think in the long run, I'd prefer working at a college. I've discovered that I enjoy sharing information and helping people learn, so teaching sounds like a better match for me.
I get that. Teaching can be super fulfilling.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, Marina, but what have you been up to since the placement ended?
Well, I didn't want to just stay at home doing nothing, so I decided to volunteer at the nearby nursing home. I've been spending time there as a companion.
Oh, wow. What does that involve?
Basically, I sit and chat with residents who don't get many visitors. Some of them stay there for weeks or even months, so they really appreciate having someone around to talk to.
That's really kind of you. Do you like doing it?
Yes, I do. It can be emotionally demanding, though. Some residents are quite ill, and sometimes I don't know what to say. But still, I've met some wonderful people and learned a lot from them. It's been a truly meaningful experience.
It sounds really valuable, but not easy. Do you think you'd want to work in a care home full-time?
I don't think so. I have a lot of respect for those who do it daily, but I don't think it's for me long-term. I'd much rather focus on education, like I mentioned before.
Yeah, fair enough. So what's the plan for your break?
I've just started a weekend job in a bookstore. It's not very exciting, but I'm saving up because I've got big plans for October.
Oh, really? What's happening then?
I'm moving to Australia. I'll be starting a master's program in anthropology at the University of Melbourne. It's a 1-year course, and I can't wait.
That's incredible. Melbourne is such an amazing city. Have you been before?
Yes, I visited once about 3 years ago, but it was just a short trip. This time will be totally different, actually living and studying there. I'm excited, but also a little nervous.
I'm sure you'll do great. It's a perfect place for anthropology students with all the museums, cultural centers, and archives.
Exactly. That's a big reason why I picked it. What about you? Any exciting plans this summer?
Yeah, actually, I'm going backpacking across South America. I've always wanted to see Brazil, Argentina, Peru, and Chile, so I finally decided to go for it.
That sounds amazing. Are you going solo or with someone?
I'll be going with a couple of classmates. We plan to stay at budget places like guest houses and maybe try couch surfing to save money.
Sounds like a fantastic trip.
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2. You will hear a speaker giving a talk about the global history, uses, and importance of a crop known as maize. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 15.
One of the most important crops grown in what is now the United States is maize. This grain first developed in the highlands of Central America, where people began cultivating it nearly 6,000 years ago. The native communities of the region, including the Maya, relied on maize due to its adaptability, ability to grow in different environments, and higher productivity compared to other crops. Unlike root vegetables, maize provided a more consistent harvest and offered better nutritional value. When Spanish explorers arrived in the Americas during the 1500s, they discovered maize during their encounters with local civilizations. Impressed by its usefulness, they transported the crop to Europe, where it was initially used to feed livestock and sailors on long voyages. Maize quickly spread in popularity, first throughout Spain and later to other parts of Europe. By the 1700s, it had become a major staple food in many areas, especially in Italy, Hungary, Romania, and Ukraine. During times of food shortage and conflict, maize helped sustain populations. However, heavy dependence on it sometimes resulted in agricultural crises such as disease outbreaks in the late 1800s. In the early 1700s, maize was introduced to North America by settlers arriving from southern Europe. By the time of the American independence movement, it was already widely grown. In 1805, farmers began cultivating maize in Nebraska, where the fertile prairie soil and mild conditions were ideal. Today, Nebraska is recognized as a center for maize farming, producing a large share of the U.S. crop. Nationwide, maize is the most widely grown grain, with an annual harvest reaching 48 billion pounds. On average, an American consumes nearly 130 pounds of maize each year, including whole kernels, cornmeal, and processed items such as cornflakes and tortillas. Maize is one of the most flexible crops in the kitchen. It can be grilled, steamed, popped, ground, or boiled, and features in everything from salads and soups to baked goods and beverages. It also forms the basis for processed foods like corn chips, breakfast cereals, and corn syrup. In addition to its culinary uses, maize offers strong nutritional benefits. It contains plenty of B vitamins, dietary fiber, and essential minerals, while being naturally cholesterol-free and low in fat. Despite some false beliefs, maize can play a role in a balanced diet, especially when not prepared with heavy butter or sugar.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
From a scientific standpoint, maize is part of the grass family, along with wheat, barley, and rice. It grows on tall green stalks, and what you usually eat are the yellow or white seeds that grow in rows on the cob. These soft kernels are actually the part of the plant that can grow into new corn. Maize grows best in fertile, moist soil and requires a steady water supply through rainfall or irrigation. Farmers use hybrid seeds to produce strong plants that resist pests and weather challenges. As a warm season crop, maize is cultivated globally in a variety of climates. It's generally planted in early summer and harvested in late autumn. In the U.S., top maize growing states include Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, although it's grown in nearly all states. Globally, Brazil, Mexico, South Africa, and Argentina are among the top producers, making significant contributions to food systems around the world. In addition to its role in diets, maize supports millions of jobs in agriculture and manufacturing. The maize processing industry, which produces canned goods and snacks, brings in billions of dollars annually. Agricultural scientists are constantly working on improving crop resilience and developing eco-friendly growing methods to guard against climate threats and pests. The journey of maize from Central America to becoming a globally valued crop shows its critical importance to both agriculture and human culture. Whether eaten fresh or as a processed item, maize continues to play a major role in global nutrition. Even as food trends evolve, maize is praised for its versatility, nourishment, and economic value. To sum up, maize is far more than just a grain. It's a key agricultural product that has influenced economies, societies, and diets across centuries.
That is the end of part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 2. Part 3. You will listen to a conversation between two classmates about their experience observing animals during a research visit. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hi, Olivia. How was your recent field trip?
It was amazing, Ryan. I'm really happy we decided to take part.
Remind me again, where did you go?
We traveled to the lake region to observe wild otters in their natural habitat.
That must have been incredible. What exactly did you do out there?
We spent 2 days tracking their movements and capturing some videos. I actually have a clip of them. Do you want to see it?
Definitely. That would be awesome.
I'll show you tomorrow. Right now, I need to review my notes. I've got a class discussion soon, and I want to be prepared.
What will you be covering in the session?
I'll be going over the aims of our trip. We had 2 main goals.
Oh, what were they?
The principal objective was to study the natural habits of otters. People often talk about how playful and smart they are, but we wanted to observe it for ourselves.
And the second?
It was to understand how they fit into their environment and interact with it.
So, what did you learn?
A lot. One of the most surprising things was how they catch food.
Really? What do they eat?
Mostly a type of fish called perch. We were amazed at how quickly they could dive and catch them. They hunt as a group, herding the fish into shallow areas to trap them. They do this again and again until they're full.
That's smart. And when they're not hunting?
They spend quite a bit of time playing. They play with each other and with random things they find. They often grab floating sticks, throw them, and then fetch them. It looks just like a game.
That's so cool. Did they try to play with you?
Yes. When we were in the canoe, they came close and swam beside us. They seemed really curious about us.
Were you allowed to touch them?
No, we were clearly told not to. Since they're wild animals, it could be dangerous. They might bite. But they swam close enough for us to see their markings and behavior clearly.
Did you notice anything else about their behavior?
Yes, we paid attention to how they communicate. They make all kinds of sounds and use body language like tail movements and head turns to interact.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
That's really interesting. How do they behave around other animals?
Well, we saw some ducks that were feeding on the same fish. The otters didn't mind. They just kept doing their thing.
Did you come across any other wildlife?
Yes, we saw a few frogs and even a snake. The otters didn't seem scared at all. They just kept swimming around, not even noticing it.
Wow, I wouldn't have expected that.
I know, right? We also watched how they react to people. They seem really interested in humans. They swim around boats, kind of like they're studying us.
That's fascinating. So, for your discussion, what are you focusing on?
I'm analyzing otter behavior, how they play, communicate, and interact socially.
That sounds great. Will you be talking about their habitat too?
Not directly. I'm more interested in how the environment affects them than just describing their surroundings. However, I'm also looking at how things like pollution and weather affect them.
Got it. And their interactions with other animals?
That part was really interesting to watch, but I won't go into it deeply during this session.
Fair enough. I'd still love to hear about it later.
Definitely. But for now, I need to run. I've got a workshop starting soon.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 3. Part 4. You will hear a speaker explaining the development of the synthesizer and its role in shaping electronic music. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Picking up from where we left off last week, when we explored changes in modern music, today I'll be talking to you about the synthesizer. The synthesizer is a key instrument in electronic music, and one of the most important breakthroughs in music technology during the 20th century. The first widely available electronic synthesizer was created in 1933 by Thomas Gilman. At the time, he was working for a company that made traditional pianos, and his creation stemmed from his interest in amplifying keyboard instruments so they could hold their own in orchestras and concert bands. Gilman was influenced with the invention of early telephones and radios in the 1920s, so he knew it was technically possible to transform musical tones into electrical signals. He built a keyboard device with a tone generator to detect key movements, which was connected to a speaker system. The model he introduced was named the Electrotone Plate. It had a flat, rectangular design with an attached keyboard and was operated from a table or a desk. This instrument was initially made for experimental and film music, which was gaining popularity at the time. Its name came from its flat and circular front. While simple in function, it became the first commercially successful electronic synthesizer. In the following years, multiple companies, including the one Gilman had worked with, began to enhance and improve the design of synthesizers. By 1946, the Bell Instrument Corporation had introduced the BX300, which was embraced by composers working in classical and ambient genres. This synthesizer had a hollow design, much like a regular piano, but it included various electronic features. It was the instrument used by Leonard Benson, one of the earliest musicians to bring keyboard solos into popular orchestration. The next key innovation in the development of the synthesizer came in 1951 when Alan Murray released the Murray Sound Machine. This was the first solid-state synthesizer made available on a large scale. It featured a basic user-friendly design and was capable of generating a clear, sharp tone. It was adopted by numerous artists throughout the 1950s and 1960s, such as Clara Harris, a pioneer in the field of electronic soul music. By 1953, the Bell Instrument Corporation launched the Novatone, which would go on to become one of the most beloved synthesizers across the globe. This model also used solid-state circuitry and was developed in collaboration with Nova Lane, a renowned musician and studio engineer. Nova Lane was one of the early adopters of layered recording, and she used the synthesizer to produce many innovative soundtracks. In the 1960s and 70s, the synthesizer marked a massive rise in popularity, and a wide variety of new versions entered the market. One of these was the Phoenix Modulator, introduced in 1956, which rose to become a classic. It was used by legends such as Mark Holloway, Serena Cole, and Nathan Pierce. The Phoenix had a unique, curved panel structure and was well known for its crisp, distinct sound. In the 1980s and 1990s, synthesizer models became increasingly sophisticated, incorporating more advanced circuits and visually complex control boards. However, in more recent years, there has been a noticeable shift back to simpler forms, with many musicians favoring the vintage designs from the 1950s and 1960s. So, that gives you a brief look at the evolution of the synthesizer. It's been an exciting path, and this instrument has played a major role in shaping modern music throughout both the 20th and 21st century.
That is the end of part 4.